Braindead Nana, Part 2. Chapter 3, The Beginning of Change, Mike and Kate. At the Institute. Nana is legally married now. There's nothing we can do, Zach stated firmly, addressing the board as he stood in defense of Nana. The board wanted Nana back at the Institute. Desperately. They are like hopeless people desperately trying to hold on to their savior. She was a special child, exceptional even. Despite all the chaos she brought, they could never truly turn their backs on her. The outside world was far too dangerous, and they knew it. They just wanted her safe, wanted her back. Unless, Zach continued, eyes scanning the room, we offer her husband a place here, inside the Institute. That made every board member pause and turn toward him. Of course, it can't be obvious, he clarified. All we need to do is build a duplicate of Rose Villa inside the Institute and move all the residents. He spoke with conviction. Are you insulting us, Mr. Michael? One of the directors asked, clearly offended. You want us to live alongside commoners? Isn't the Institute meant for the well-provided? It's merely a suggestion, Mr. Parker. But let's not pretend Nana married a commoner, and still, you want her back. You could drag her here against her will, sure, but are you prepared to face her wrath afterward? Zach's words were plain, his tone devoid of emotion but laced with a deeper message. This wasn't about privilege. It was about Nana, that crazy lunatic of a woman. These airheaded rich people, they really thought money granted them exclusive rights to everything the Institute had to offer. Jerks, selfish beings. The construction briefing. This is the new project approved by the board. Everyone, Mr. Cristobal announced, standing before a group of engineers. He was the construction manager of the facility, and today, he carried excitement in his voice. It's a proposed 4-story building for the residents of Rose Villa. A few engineers from the villa exchanged glances, intrigued. The project duration is 6 months, so I hope I can count on everyone's cooperation. 6 months? That's overkill, boss, one engineer remarked. It's the timeline the board gave us. If we need more hands, we'll hire. This project is our top priority. Lucas, among them, felt like he was in heaven, a villa inside the Institute. For them, what a blessing. Nana would be happy. But then again he paused in that thought. Why would he thought about his wife being happy living in the Institute? He should be happy. Lucas shook his head. Since that silent Barbie doll came into his life, he can't help himself from thinking about her. Would Nana like this or that? Haste, what a distraction. Back at Rose Villa. Nana, now listed among the braindead, had fallen under Director Snow's supervision. When Institute workers reported for duty, their family members, especially the braindead, were left in the care of the staff. There were at least 20 such individuals under Mrs. Snow's daily responsibility. Their days were spent playing games, watching movies, and doing anything that kept them occupied. Today was Nana's first day. And she hated it. The attention, the stares. The entertainment room was large, serving as a multi-purpose playground. One wall had a full-length mirror, sometimes replaced with a whiteboard-turned projector screen. In one corner, instruments, then another, a sound system. Tables like those in a kindergarten room were scattered around. A cabinet of refreshments, candies, chocolates, and juice lined one side. The braindeads, left idle while their spouse worked, gathered here daily. They were grouped like children in the school. All braindead girl or boy and Nana had been paired with Kate, Mike's wife, and other commoners' wives as school buddies. The goal was to let the braindeads socialize. And surprisingly, they embraced them with warmth. Today's entertainment, a horror movie. Wait for me, I'll go get Divine, Mrs. Snow announced. Nana's eyes narrowed. This old woman clearly wasn't listening to Zach's warnings. Wasn't she afraid? But Mrs. Snow seemed confident. Zach would be working now. She always snuck Divine out anyway. That made Nana like her. Soon, everyone was sitting on the floor, lights dimmed. When Divine arrived, Kate immediately moved closer, laying her head in Divine's lap. Nana took note. They're really close, Nana noticed. Divine and Kate weren't like the other braindead. And she loved them for it. Target locked, Nana hides a side smile. On the way home, Mike couldn't stop smiling. He and Lucas were on the shuttle, heading home, and the news Lucas had just shared lit up his world. The Institute was building them a villa. Never in his wildest dreams had he imagined a day his wife would live inside the Institute. To even buy a small house was once the height of his ambition. But to live there, where only the privileged dwelled, it was too much, too good. Lucas elbowed him. Stop smiling like a fool. But Mike couldn't help it. He needed to keep this job, do his best, because now, more than ever, it mattered. He pictured Kate's face smiling. He had never actually seen her smile, but he just knew if she ever did, she'd be the most beautiful woman in the world. 5 years ago, he found her Kate. She was hiding in a corner of the marketplace. He was just out buying groceries, but one glimpse of her blood-stained dress changed everything. She wasn't hurt, just terrified. He brought her to the police station and left her in the care of a female officer. But that night, he couldn't sleep. Her face haunted him. By morning, he was back at the station and found her curled up on the floor, hugging her knees, eyes vacant. She hadn't eaten, hadn't spoken. He offered her his sandwich. She wouldn't look at him at first, but when he acted a little silly, she glanced up. Then ate. That was all he needed. The officers had tried to find her family, but with no success. She may have been the victim of a brainiac, maybe orphaned. They were planning to send her to the social center, but when the social worker arrived, she freaked out violently, screamed, and hurt herself. Mike reacted, instantly pulling her into his arms, holding her tight. She hugged him back, buried her face in his chest. She clung to him like he was her only anchor. And so, despite the judgment of the officers, Mike signed an authorization. He would take her home, and he would be responsible. He lied, told the villa she was his sister living with his aunt from afar, but due to the risk of brainiac, he decided to bring her home. No one questioned it then, no paperwork needed. But things changed quickly, protocols tightened. Everyone was shocked when Mike suddenly declared he'd marry her. At first, his love was pure, brotherly, but years of living with her wore down his walls. He tried to fight it, denied his feelings, but desire crept in, especially when she was near. One morning, while preparing breakfast, he cut his finger. Kate grabbed his hand and without hesitation sucked the blood. Something inside him snapped. He had his crazy self-monologue moments where he would argue his sanity by feeling tempted by Kate, 100 sleepless nights, battling a mind and a beating chaotic heart. But how can you stop thinking about someone when she was right there, just an arm's length away? At one moment, he even found himself knocking at Lucas's door, asking if he could sleep over so he could be away from Kate and free him by her spell, which he regretted the next morning because he hadn't slept a second, his mind and heart consumed with thoughts of her. When he finally stepped out of Lucas's apartment, there she was, Kate, sitting on the floor outside their unit, patiently waiting. It was clear she had spent the entire night there just to see him come home. Guilt and shame followed, but also something deeper, acceptance. Acceptance that he truly was in love with this woman. Despite everything, Kate wanted him. Always initiating, always teasing, always choosing him. She was brain dead by law, but not in spirit. She loved him back, and so he married her. That day remains the best day of his life. He once lived alone, drifting like a nomad, but Kate brought joy, purpose. Someone to come home to, someone to love and be loved by. He glanced at Lucas. Maybe his friend's strange marriage would work out too. Maybe this was his chance. A chance to live, to finally taste happiness. Mike smiled to himself, silently. Yes, this man will finally know what it means to be alive. Entrance of the Rose Villa. What the hell is she doing here? Lucas muttered sharply, halting mid-step as he spotted his wife standing at the villa entrance. She wasn't looking for him, just waiting calmly, as if she belonged there. Maybe she's waiting for you to come home, Mike whispered beside him, his tone teasing, but not without an edge. Lucas's stomach twisted unexpectedly. Was she really? But before he could overthink it, Varen walked right past them like they were invisible and threw her arms around Nana with cheerful warmth. Were you waiting for me? She asked brightly, latching onto Nana's arm. Nana simply nodded, her expression unreadable. I bet you're already hungry. Come on, let's get inside, Varen said, leading her toward their unit. That should be me holding your hand. That should be me making you laugh. Mike suddenly burst into off-key song, belting out Justin Bieber's That Should Be Me like he was performing on stage, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Lucas shot him a glare. The man couldn't carry a tune if his life depended on it. but that didn't stop him from singing with absolute confidence. That should be me ... The words echoed in Lucas's mind, uninvited. And then came the ripple, the quiet, crawling regret that pressed against his chest. Damn it, why did he feel like this? He barely knew the woman. Irritated, Lucas bumped into Mike as he turned toward his unit, but the big man didn't even flinch. He only stopped singing, shrugging casually. Mike watched him go, amused, then made his way to the room where his Kate was resting. "Love," he called softly, pushing open the door. Mrs. Snow greeted him with a kind smile. "Kate's a little under the weather today," she said gently. Mike's demeanor immediately softened. The big man turned tender. Inside, Kate sat slumped in the corner of the couch, pale and weary. He knelt in front of her without hesitation. "Love, are you all right?" he asked, brushing his fingers against her forehead. Kate didn't answer, but the look on her weak face says it all. Mrs. Snow added she had a light dinner and already took her medicine. She should feel better by morning. Later that night, long after the others had turned in, Zach finally came home. "Honey, I'm home," he called out, his voice echoing through the quiet villa. As always, Aunt Lou greeted him in Divine's place. She was never allowed to leave until Zach arrived. He frowned. Divine usually waited for him even at midnight. She always met him at the door, sleepy-eyed but stubbornly waiting for him. "Mrs. Michaels has a slight fever, Mr. Michaels," Aunt Lou said gently. "But don't worry, she's taken her medicine." Zach nodded. It wasn't uncommon for Divine to catch a cold or run a fever. She had always been delicate like that. "Thank you for your hard work today, Aunt Lou," he said sincerely before bidding her good night. After washing up, Zach quietly slipped into bed. He lay next to Divine, brushing her hair back as he studied her sleeping form. Then he noticed a small red mark on her right shoulder. Curious, he touched it gently. Divine flinched and let out a soft groan of pain. Zach's brow furrowed. She scratched at the mark absently in her sleep. A mosquito bite, perhaps. He reached for an ointment in the bedside drawer and dabbed it gently on the spot. "This should do the trick," he murmured. He pulled her close, and she instinctively snuggled into his chest with a sleepy sigh. 6 more months, he reminded himself. Just 6 more months, and all his dreams would come true.